The best way to explain social identity theory is by expressing our own social identity based on the groups we most identify with. Being in groups gives us a sense of belonging to the social world, and it helps us gain self-esteem and makes us feel good about ourselves. In order to increase our self-image, we boost the status of the groups we belong to and discriminate against the groups we don't belong to. We like to compare and make our group seem better. My name is Maribel. I'm a full-time student at Cal State Fullerton, a psychology major, a daughter, a friend, a big sister for Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, a Mexican American, and a devoted Catholic. One of the groups I most identify myself with is being an Angels fan. Being born and raised in Anaheim, I have always been a huge baseball fan. I was raised as an Angels fan thanks to my dad, and brought up with the mentality that the Angels are better than the Dodgers. Although the Dodgers have been playing better than the Angels this year, there is still a huge dislike between myself and Dodger fans.
Hi, I'm John. Today I'm going to talk to you about my social identity. To me, I identify myself mostly with the Vietnamese community, but sometimes I also identify myself with the American community because I don't only take the Vietnamese qualities. I also have very westernized ideas like freedom and free choice, whereas the Vietnamese community we often opt for the work for the community, and we're very family based. Aside from that, I also identify myself with the Buddhist Youth Association, and in there I see a lot of in-group polarization, and that's what I'm going to be talking about next. Now, regarding in-group polarization, I see this most as a leader of the Buddhist Youth Association, where a new generation of leaders, myself included, have either taken a very conservative approach, very cautious, or a very liberal approach, where they prefer more free will within the kids. So, with the conservative leaders, they tend to polarize towards the idea of being very cautious with everything that they do, like all the events, they try to plan it out perfectly so that there's no flaws, and that any kids making any mistakes should be punished, and there should be a no tolerance system. Where the more liberal approach, myself included, believe that we should be more lenient on the kids and be more forgiving and try to understand the kids more. So when we actually have these debates and try to come to terms with each other, it actually gets pretty hard because the ideas are so polarized, but eventually we do try to accommodate each other and compromise. But what I see most from in-group polarization is what happens afterwards, where when we meet with our group, meet with the more liberal leaders and my other leaders with their conservative, we see that our ideas end up being intensified, and we come up with more radical ideas towards our area.
My name is Ludo. I was born in Saigon, Vietnam. My father passed away in prison when I was too young to understand the concept of death and loss. Most of my childhood time was with my mother. I grew up day by day by the love of my mother. To me, she not only a mother, but also a father. My way of living, point of view, decisions are influenced by the example of my mother. 16 years ago, my family moved from Vietnam to California. At that time, it seemed as we have moved to a completely new world. The entire way of life in California was radically different from a lifestyle we were accustomed in Vietnam. My mother could see that we having a difficult time adjusting to our new environment. I still remember those feelings of helplessness because I did not know how to speak English. I did not have any friend. Everything was different than what we were back in my country. I found out the role as a son, husband, father, employee, and a student that I play in society shaped the person I am. As a son, I need to respectful my parents and taking care of my parents. As a husband, I need to supportive to my wife. As a father of 3 children, I need to set a good example, a role model to my children. As an employee, of a social institution, I need to try my best to prove my skill and represent myself as a professional I am. As a student, I interact with classmates, instructors, get the best of my education. Mostly, our identity change often over the year. From our childhood to our teenager year, then to our identify with our career orientation, our family, our education, then we go into relationship. We get married and become parenthood. Then on to those busy year toward our midlife, then moving forward to our senior year. Some of these identities mainly determine who I am today.
My name is Marvin Andres, and today I'm going to be talking about my social identity and in-group bias. One thing I would identify myself as is a Filipino American. Being Filipino American makes me experience two different cultures. The Filipino culture is more family oriented, and the American culture, I think, is more individualistic. Another thing I would identify myself as is a working student. Right now I work at a grocery store and also go to school. So that makes me a working student. Also, I would identify myself as a cancer survivor. A few years ago, I had cancer but beat it with chemotherapy. Moving on, I find it helpful putting things into categories to help define social identities. I categorize myself as a Laker fan because I think Kobe Bryant is a good basketball player. Another example would be, I would categorize myself as a big brother. I consider myself a big brother because I have two younger sisters that look up to me. Now I'm going to be talking about in-group bias. In-group bias is a tendency to favor one's group. I display in-group bias when I watch the Lakers. When I watch the Lakers, in-group bias sets in even though they are playing a much better team. A second example would be my circle of friends. Everyone in this group treats me fairly and is willing to support me at any troubles I have. These are my groups within my social identity and in-group bias. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Vu Nguyen. I was born in Saigon City in the south of Vietnam. I'm 39 years old and my religion belongs to Catholic. Because Saigon City is the biggest city in Vietnam, like New York City in the United States. So it was more exciting, crowded, and comfortable than other cities. Obviously, I have more chance for education, job, entertainment than other people. Therefore, many people wanted to move from small city to Saigon to look for opportunity to change their life. I would characterize as an original Saigon, so I always felt superior to whom were not born in Saigon. I came to the United States in 2008. Now I am a Vietnamese American. I have many difficulties to adapt to new life in the United States, such as different language and culture. English is my second language. When I communicate with American native speaker students, they do not understand or misunderstand what I mean because of my second language accent. I self-characterize and label as a minority student in CSU Fullerton. I am not self-confident when working together with native speaker students. For example, group project in class, I usually feel inferior to American native speaker students. Moreover, I always watch soccer match on TV every weekend, and my favorite team is Manchester United, so my in-group bias is Manchester United fan. In conclusion, what I had just talked about is my social identity, in-group, out-group, and in-group bias. Thank you for listening.